Hey guys, welcome back to the Fiend Club. I'm here with Miles, and we're going to do our second review ever, and we're going to do it on a classic movie called Brainscan from 1994, featuring Edward Furlong from Terminator 2, and also Amy Hargraves, which I'm not sure what else she's been in, but she's terrific in that movie. So I guess we'll just kind of go over the plot. We're not going to give away too much or anything, but so basically it starts off with a main character named Michael Brower, who's played by Edward Furlong, and it kind of goes to a scene where he was a child and he got in a car accident with his mother, and his mother actually passed away in the car accident. So he's kind of having a nightmare about it. And then he also has a friend named Kyle, and I guess throughout the movie he's home alone, so his dad's not present. I think he's on a work trip. But he has his best friend's Kyle, and they kind of run this horror club at the high school. And he also is deeply in love with a girl named Kimberly, and kind of stalks her a little bit, kind of like Girl Next Door kind of thing. Anyway, Michael Brower gets a call from Kyle, and they're talking about Fangoria. And there's this new video game called Brainscan. It's in Fangoria, and so Michael decides to get it, and through that he kind of finds out upon playing it, he kind of gets more than he bargained for.
Yeah.
Because it's super realistic. And I think this movie kind of plays off of the overwhelming popularity of virtual reality video games that existed in the early 90s. Everyone was trying to be very realistic, with gaming and, like Doom and like first person kind of thing. So I think this game really kind of was trying to play off that. I think the story is kind of based off that in a way.
Yeah, and then it's also like it was made in '94, and it kind of has the same vibe that some '80s movies do, where it's like a coming of age kind of fits it. It's kind of like a timepiece. You'll watch it, and you can definitely tell it's made in the '90s, and it's got the '90s vibe to it. So
that's one of the things that makes this movie so amazing too. Is it aged? 90s. Yeah, it aged perfectly because it's from 1994. It's very early '90s. There's a great soundtrack in it. It's got a like Alcohol Funny Car, and then Pitch Shifter, and it's got Ted.
Yeah, it has a lot of like up and coming bands at the time, and a lot of Seattle grunge and grunge and metal bands, mostly.
Yeah,
so.
It's great, terrific soundtrack, and
Yeah, there's it like I said, it's not really like a very high budget movie, but it's pretty entertaining and pretty funny. Like I said, it's kind of like an '80s. Kind of like, not really silly, but it's not like too serious, so it's not really like...
There's quite a bit of comedy in it.
Yeah, it's not like too over the top or anything either, though.
But it's still a great horror film. It's very like, it's very nerve-wracking, and the ending too. Yeah, and I also really enjoyed the ending. It's kind of unexpected. I didn't expect it when I first initially watched it. When I watched it years ago.
And that's another thing for us, it's a nostalgic movie because we watched it a long time ago.
Yeah, when we were younger.
And I think a lot of people share that same thing with this movie. It's something they watched when they were younger, and it's a definition of probably a cult movie because I don't even know honestly if it made it to worldwide distribution in terms of theater and DVD. So I don't really know what the status was on that, but what we do know is I think he bought a DVD once and it was like a German copy.
Yeah, I did.
And then nowadays they finally repressed it, and it's like in one of the Thrills and Chills pack. That's 4 movies. The one I have now, it's got Brainscan, like Fright Night and Monster High, and then what's the other movie in it? Craft.
The Craft.
So they put it in, and that's like a way you could buy it here in the U.S. You can buy it on Amazon. So if you're looking to watch it, you can buy it on there.
It's a lot easier to find nowadays.
Yeah, so when we tried to buy it, like longer ago, it's
really hard to find. The only copies you found were like the German copies that were like only work on certain.
DVD players. I'm sure there's a Canadian DVD.
Region 2 DVD player. Yeah.
I know the tape. I know they only made like one pressing of the tape, but the CD, if you like the music, it's actually really popular. I think I even got it new when I ordered it.
Yeah, they still sell them, original pressing CDs.
And they're really cheap. It was like $4 or something.
It's a great soundtrack for the most part. Like almost like 90% of the songs are really
Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
It is. Has a really great soundtrack. And that's I think why we watched it recently to go back to it, and that's why we liked it so much. But I think you guys found out about it through like on the DVD.
FearNet. Yeah, there was a on demand about 10 years ago. There was a. It's probably still around, but not on demand. It was back in the day when it was Insight, and they used to have FearNet on there, and that's when we found Brainscan. Just because I saw Edward Furlong, I was like, oh, that's the kid from Pet Sematary 2 and Terminator 2. So, yeah, I watched it. I loved the movie. I honestly, this is probably one of my favorite movies. I'm kind of biased, so this is probably one of my favorite movies. It's probably my top 10 favorites. It's just has a great overall early 90s appeal, and it's just a great thriller.
But not like aged bad. Like
yeah, it aged really well, and the characters are very likable in it. Michael Brower, Kimberly, and Kyle are all very likable characters.
Like with Scream.
And Trickster also. We haven't even mentioned Trickster. Trickster is the, I guess the, kind of the voice that guides him through Brainscan. So he's like kind of this sinister demon guy who kind of guides him through the game and encourages him to keep going at the game even when he wants to stop because he thinks it's too realistic. Well, if you watch the movie, you'll figure it out. We don't want to give away too much.
But with Scream, like a watch movie like Scream, you can tell it's from the 90s and it kind of doesn't age
well.
Yeah, well, that was from like 97 or something. Like
96,
97, something like that. And that one didn't age, and this one's from 94, and it doesn't have like the dumb haircuts and everything. It looks like it's from the 90s, but not really in a bad way. So it's pretty timeless and funny, and it's like a fun movie to watch with friends too.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is hard to find. I think it might be on YouTube. I'm not for sure if it is anymore. I know you can download it on Amazon, I'm pretty sure, to buy it, and then it might be on iTunes. I'm not for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And then in terms of the only thing I'd have to say that I wish. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it really mattered in this instance. But it only shows one death in the movie. But I think they did that because if they showed more deaths, the movie would be way too long. It already is a pretty decently long movie. I'd say it's like 80 minutes. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, for a horror movie, yeah.
But it's decent.
And probably for the budget, they
maybe
probably
even a
had
little bit.
enough, I think.
Yeah, but they do have one death scene. It's really, really awesome.
Yeah, the one death scene's really good.
Yeah, it's really, really creative. It's got a lot of gore in it for the early 90s, and it's awesome. But there's only one death. But it's still just such an entertaining movie. So.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting movie if you want to watch something you don't have to like sit down and really focus on it. It's just kind of like a just fun movie to watch, I think, and it has a pretty unique plot, especially for the time. It's probably one of the first movies to really do the virtual reality game thing as far as horror goes. So it's definitely a unique movie. It's a fun one.
Yeah, if you're a horror movie fan too, Michael Brower's like the kid you like one as a friend in real life because he's just like very avid about horror movies. In his room, he has a lot of Universal horror monster horror posters everywhere in his room. I remember seeing the Incredible Stricken Man poster. That's a great movie. And then he also has some Iron Maiden posters from the early 90s, and they're from the No Prayer for the Dying album. It's pretty awesome. And then there's a lot of band posters in there. So I think whoever designed this set had good taste.
Yeah, it's really good. I think set design, that's a good thing in this movie. It has really good set design.
His room's very cool.
Yeah, definitely did feel like it was an actual kid's room, not just put together at the last second.
Right.
But yeah, his room's pretty iconic for what it was.
It's the room I wish I had.
Yeah, it's the room the kid. If you like those kind of things like metal
16,
music and horror movies, that's the room you'd want.
Yeah, and he's 16 in it. So, and I remember watching the movie when I was 16 and really resonated with it. It's just a great movie.
It's a really good time.
So that's all we're gonna say about 1994's Brainscan. It's just a great movie. It's one of my personal favorites. Definitely my top 10, and I've been watching it for over 10 years. So it's just one of those great horror films that really defines the early 90s. And I sort of have a favoritism towards movies that kind of define eras. And
That's a staple stone of '90s horror. Like
Yeah.
that's not like bloody or gory, but just like a classic.
Just good thriller.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an '80s horror movie that you could relate to it, like Killer Clowns, but it's kind of too silly because Brainscan isn't that silly. But like a movie that I can't really think of one right now, but like kind of like maybe like one of the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels, maybe like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
Yeah, like Killer
Something like
Clowns,
that.
even like that's a we'll review that soon.
Yeah.
That's a great movie because it captures the 1988.
Yeah,
So it's like I don't know, I
it's
personally
a good
love those
staple
movies.
stone of the '80s.
Yeah.
And
Just
then like this is good staple stone of the '90s.
Yeah. So I think that's all I have to say. What are your thoughts on?
Like final
Brainscan?
thoughts is it's been a movie that I've loved for a long time. So it's definitely if you're like it's an essential for horror fans because it's a cult movie that doesn't get enough credit. It's probably the most underrated horror movie probably ever made. Besides maybe like a couple others, but definitely from the '90s. That and Candyman, probably the most underrated from the '90s.
The Death Machine.
Death Machine, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely worth watching. Edward Furlong does great in it. The acting in it's great. The music in it. The original music's great too, but the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, the original sound. Yeah, we didn't even talk. There's a great
George
original
Clinton,
score.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the music. He's actually done I think other like big movies. So
Yeah, it's just go watch it. We don't want to. This review is sort of different from Halloween because we don't really want to give away too much. It's just one of those. The only reason why we gave away a lot with Halloween is because most of you guys probably seen it. But Brainscan's
yeah, you know the plot. It's folklore. Everyone knows what happens in Halloween.
Exactly. And this one you probably haven't seen. And if you haven't, you should go watch it. If you have, go watch it again. It's a great movie, and we really recommend it here at the Fiend Club. Thanks for watching.